Children of all ages, the Nerdy Man Room Show proudly brings you Cards Subject to Change with Hassel. And this week, we got one of the grails in the what if world as we dive into what if Sting had debuted on the debut episode of Monday Night Raw. That's right, people. So as you know, in the Monday Night Wars, once they began, on the debut episode of Nitro, 1 year later, or a year and a half, somewhere in that area, Lex Luger, the All-American, the man who had just been the Lex Express, just main evented WrestleMania, SummerSlam, etc., etc., etc. for the last year, he debuts on the debut episode of Monday Nitro. So, what if? What if we went the opposite route? What if the franchise of WCW made his WWF debut on the debut episode of Monday Night Raw? Vince would have really struck gold there. We've already done a what if he went to the WWF instead of the Ultimate Warrior and Warrior into Jim Cockett Promotions. If you haven't seen it, go check us out on Stay Weird Network, as we got a backlog over there, and we got some more back issues episodes here on the Nerdy Man Room Show. So, what if Sting debuted on Raw? January 1993. We got the very first episode of Monday Night Raw. We get Ric Flair versus a mystery opponent. Mr. Perfect comes out because at the time, Flair and Perfect were in the middle of a feud where Flair is about to be shipped back off to WCW. Flair smiles as it's Perfect. Kurt has the mic and tells Flair, I got the perfect opponent. I had to search coast to coast, north to south to finally find him. Flair, and you know him well. Flair looks puzzled as the music hits, and out comes Sting. Vince would lose it. Oh my, Flair looks terrified. Sting hits the ring, and immediately Flair begins to beg. The two have a stellar matchup, not missing a beat, as these two really had great chemistry at this time as it was already. Vince is really putting Sting over. Sting picks up the win with the Scorpion. After the match, Vince McMahon interviews Sting, who tells all the little stingers that not only has he signed with the WWF, but he will be in the Royal Rumble match. At the Royal Rumble, January 24th, 1993. The first man out is Ric Flair. The brain reminds everybody that Flair won from the number 3 spot last year and will repeat this year. Then Sting enters at number 2. Flair is livid. An amazing start with these two as they kick off the Rumble. As the match progresses, Sting continues to remain looking strong and looking like the new face of the WWF. In the closing minutes of the match, however, it's Sting, Macho Man, Crush, Yokozuna, Repo Man, and Earthquake. Sting and Macho help form an alliance and against all the heels, quickly eliminating them. I apologize. Repo Man and Combo and Crush. Sting takes out Earthquake with a huge, massive slam as Macho Man works on Yoko. Sting slams Earthquake. The roof blows off the arena as he tosses him over the top rope. Macho Man drops the elbow on Yoko, who presses him over the top rope. That actually happened, people. I don't know what Macho was thinking in that Rumble. He presses him over the top rope, and it's leaving down to none other than Sting and Yokozuna. Sting looks to be spent after entering the Rumble at number 2, but he begins to hulk up and have Yoko on the ropes when none other than Earthquake comes back out, distracting Sting for Yokozuna to flip him over the top rope and win the Royal Rumble, going to WrestleMania to face Bret Hart for the WWF Championship. Sting is pissed and gives chase to Earthquake to the back. On Raw, we get Sting versus Earthquake. Man, Earthquake was a bad dude back then. Sting gets a massive pop if he makes his entrance. Great David versus Goliath matchup with the fans firmly behind the Stinger. Sting lands the Stinger splash and hits the Scorpion Death Drop. That's right, people. He did use that from time to time back then. We just didn't realize it till he made it his complete finisher in 96 and 97. 1, 2, 3. Sting wins. On Superstars, Vince McMahon interviews Sting when none other than Doink the Evil Clown comes out and attacks Sting from behind. We get a brief feud with Sting versus Doink throughout February, leading into a match on Raw for the Intercontinental title opportunity at WrestleMania. We get a fantastic matchup. Sting and Doink looking great as Shawn Michaels is ringside for commentary. Sting gets the win and points over to HBK and Luna Vachon. That's right, people. He was managed by the lovely Luna at the time. From the neck down, she was quite a butterhead, no lie. At WrestleMania, we get the build between Sting and Shawn, and we get a great one here because these two would be the perfect antagonists for each other, as Sting was the ultimate face, and you had what you could have had out of Ultimate Warrior, and Shawn Michaels was a just detestable piece of shit even back then. We get a match on Raw, but Shawn is fleeing the match, getting counted out, which is what he often did a lot when he was Intercontinental Champion. It's the whole reason he got Diesel at some point, saying he could quit doing count-out losses to keep the title. The Raw before WrestleMania, we get Sting and Tatanka. That's right, people, the Native American hero, versus Doink and the Intercontinental Champion, Shawn Michaels. We get a great teaser for WrestleMania here. Ultimately, Sting and Tatanka get the dub as Michaels abandons the matchup, leaving Tatanka to hit the end of the trail on Doink. Poor Doink, buddy. 1, 2, 3. You done, son. At WrestleMania 9, we get Intercontinental Champion Shawn Michaels versus Sting. We get a 28-star Meltzer matchup here. Both men pulling out all the stops. Tons of false finishes. Shawn lands a clean super kick on Sting, but instead of covering him, he begins to dance and tease the crowd just a little bit. Sting does his kip up with a no-sell, stinging up like he always did back then. Flexing, Shawn is out of his mind at this point. He goes to kick him again, but then Sting blocks, doing his own kicks and chops that we all know and love. Irish whip to the corner. Stinger splash. Scorpion deathlock. HBK taps out for your new Intercontinental Champion, Sting! Man, I would have loved to have heard the Fink back at WrestleMania 9 time. That Sting, oh man, that would have been beautiful. We still get the Hulk Hogan winning the title bullshit. Some things were just inevitable. That worked for him, brother. I don't know what to tell you. On Raw, however, Sting defends his Intercontinental Championship against none other than the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. We get a great old school matchup, but Sting would pick up the win. Ted is winding his career down. He is done shortly after SummerSlam. I believe Razor Ramon was his last opponent, actually. Hats off, great career. But these two could have been money in $1 Million Man's prime, though. Whew. On Superstars, we get an interview with Sting by none other than Mean Gene. Sting declares that he will be a fighting champion. All challengers are welcome. Throughout April and May, Sting is a great Intercontinental Champion, defending the title weekly against the likes of Rick the Model Martel, Repo Man, and IRS. Man, Irwin R. Shyster. Death and taxes, baby. You're going to pay them. On Superstars, Yokozuna attacks Brutus Beefcake when Sting and Macho Man make the help to Hulk Hogan and the save. On Raw, we get an interview with Sting, Macho Man, and the Hulkster by Mean Gene. He was still there at this time, folks. This definitely sends the message that Sting is the new face of the WWF, and he is your next up-and-coming star. I'm sorry, Brett. Sting's going to edge you out for a little bit for this year. At the King of the Ring, June 13th, 1993, Intercontinental Champion Sting versus HBK with his bodyguard Diesel. That's right. Whoop, whoop. Benny Vegas has made the jump over to the WWF. Now, Sting gets a massive pop and looks at Diesel asking, "Hey, don't I know you from Vegas?" Diesel looks fucking furious at this. We get a 5-star matchup. Sting has the match in hand when Mr. Fuji comes out and distracts the ref. Diesel jackknifes Sting, and Shawn picks up the win and the title for Sting's first loss inside of the WWF. Afterwards, Mean Gene is interviewing HBK and Diesel, who states that Mr. Fuji was just returning the favor for Yokozuna from Superstars. Yoko still wins the title from Hogan. Hogan is out the door. It is what it is, people. He goes down south, and we know where that goes. On Raw, we get Sting versus Bam Bam Bigelow. Man, Bam Bam had like the worst theme music back then, too. It's that Bam Bam. It was fucking the shits. We get a fun matchup, however, with Sting on fire. He is lit up after the King of the Ring. Sting slams Bam Bam and locks in the Scorpion Deathlock for the win. He tells Jim Ross ringside that Fuji, Diesel may have stole the Intercontinental Championship for Shawn Michaels last night, but all three men have a day of judgment coming, as well as Yokozuna. July 4th, the USS Intrepid. Now, we know what day this is, people. This is the day that the All-American Lex Luger debuts and transforms from the Narcissist, and he went on to have the worst slam ever against Yoko, and then we go to the Lex Express and all that. We're going to pivot, people. We're pivoting. We're getting away from that there, because let's just be honest. As Jim Cornette said, that went over like a plate of piss. So we get the Body Slam Challenge. Superstar after superstar attempt to body slam Yokozuna. One by one they fall when a helicopter lands and out walks Sting. That's right, people. We just pivoted. Sting and Yokozuna face off. Yoko attempts to charge Sting, and Sting puts a massive slam on Yokozuna. The crowd erupts because Sting had the strength to actually do it, people. Well, and the coordination. Sting begins his cross-America express journey on his way to SummerSlam and the WWF Championship match against none other than Yokozuna. SummerSlam, August 30th, 1993. Sting versus WWF Champion Yokozuna. We get Sting coming out in the red, white, and blue, people. That's right. He's breaking out his Great American Bash gear here, people, and we're just going to do this thing. Massive pop from the crowd. We get a solid 4-star matchup out of these two guys. We get a lot of back and forth. Sting really gets sympathy from the audience that sometimes is, he's just taking a lot of abuse from the guy that is 5 times his size, which was saying something. Sting was a big boy. Sting goes to mount up his comeback, hulking up, Stinger Splash, Body Slam, and the pin for the 1, 2, 3, and new WWF Champion, Sting. The house would erupt. As Gorilla Monsoon would say, it's pandemonium. They're hanging from the rafters. This place is banana. All the faces come down to help Sting celebrate. That's right. Sorry, Lex, buddy. He done what you couldn't. And it's safe to say Vince would have went this route, because let's just face it. Had Lex not been such a fucking sour grape the entire time they'd done the Lex Express with Bruce Pritchard in Vince's ear, Lex would have actually got the rub. Bruce Pritchard, you dickhead, you cost Lex on that one. On Raw, we get an interview with the new WWF champion, Sting, where Sting says the title is back around the waist of a true American, and he intends to keep it there. Intercontinental champion HBK with Diesel comes out and claims to have Sting's number and says he will take that title away from the Stinger. Over the next few weeks, we get HBK and Diesel trolling Sting each and every week on Superstars. They jump him, and with none other than Lex Luger comes down to make the save. Lex is still going to transition into an All-American, people. We're going to give it to you. just a little later than usual. On Raw, Luger comes out and he apologizes to Sting for the way that they parted paths in WCW, reminding everyone that Sting and him had a lot of success together as well. Stinger, you and me as a tag partner, I got your back, buddy. Diesel, Michaels, well, we got you. Sting's going to look at him real solidly, though, and tell him, Lex, you're right. We were pretty damn good tag partners, but then you stabbed me in the back, oddly enough, over a world title. So I'm going to accept your offer. But just know that trust is earned, and if you even think of turning on me again, I'll drop you with a scorpion death drop before you even blink. The two shake hands. We have an uneasy alliance. It looks like Sting and Luger is back on the path of the Angels. On Saturday night's main events, we get Intercontinental Champion HBK and Diesel versus WWF Champion Sting and Lex Luger. We get a pre-taped interview before the matchup, however, where Michaels guarantees victory tonight. We get an amazing tag match here with all four showcasing that they are the new generation of the WWF. Diesel is holding Sting as Sean goes for the super kick when none other than Luger ducks in and takes the bullet for Sting. Sting would then make, after Luger's sacrifice, will be able to get Diesel out of the ring, knocking him out, and then he would put a death drop on Michaels for the 1, 2, 3. Sting and Lex Luger win. Luger proves that he has the Stinger's back. On Raw, Sting would apologize to Lex for even doubting him. The two men would embrace and join up, solidifying themselves as a solid tag team in the WWF. We begin the road to the Survivor Series with Jim Cornette and his foreign fanatics, Yokozuna, Crush, who had just turned heel, Ludwig Borga, what a stinker he was, and the Quebecer, Jock. And if those of you that don't know who he is, he was none other than the Mountie. That's right, people, the Mountie. They're going to challenge Sting and Luger to a traditional Survivor Series match. Jim tells him, if you can find two fools to be your partners, we want to challenge you. When out comes none other than WWF Tag Team Champions, the Steiner Brothers. Rick would grab the mic real quick and say, this isn't the first time I've been called a fool. You want it? You got it. The Steiner Brothers, they got Sting and Luger's back. At the Survivor Series, November 24th, we get the All-Americans versus the Foreign Fanatics. Sting's squadron would look great, and Vince would be pointing out to Gorilla Monsoon that it's almost as if they've worked together before. Wink, wink. One by one, the Fanatics fall, till only Yokozuna is left. Sting's team makes quick tags in and out, keeping Yokozuna off his game until Luger nails the forearm on Yokozuna to score the win. The heroes celebrate. See, Lex, we're giving you a little love. You're going to finally get your dub over Yokozuna there, buddy. Just not for the belt. Sting defends his title throughout December and January, defeating the likes of Crush, Atom Bomb, and Toot Toot Diesel. At the Royal Rumble, January 22nd, 1994, Sting will retain the WWF title versus Crush with Mr. Fuji. When Macho Man comes down to the ring to even up the odds ringside, getting revenge on Crush, who had turned on him just about a month prior and become an evil villain. Well, I guess a couple months prior. It was around, in October. You get it, people. You get where I'm going with this, people. Lex Luger and Brett still, however, become co-Royal Rumble winners. We still have this debacle, people. However, this makes for an interesting WrestleMania. Stay with me. The road to WrestleMania begins as it is announced that at WrestleMania 10, it will be a triple threat for the WWF title match. This will be the first time in history, people. We get tons of moments where it's get a tease turn from Lex Luger and even Brett. But Brett has his own drama going on with Owen at the time, because as you know, at the Royal Rumble, that was when Owen kicked Brett's leg out of his leg. Go back and watch it, people. That's what he said. He kicked his leg out of his leg. Can't make it up. But it did start the beginnings of an amazing feud between these two. At WrestleMania 10, WWF Champion Sting versus Bret Hitman Hart and Lex Luger. The champ looks great in this three-man matchup right here. We get a huge ton of exchanges back and forth. Bret and Sting, they get their first in-ring touches with one another. We know what 1993, no, this is early 94, I suppose. 94, Sting and Bret could have really been magic. The problem would have been who would have been the heel. We wasn't ready for heel Bret again at this point. It was going to be 96, 97 before we're really ready for that. And Bret had been the face of the new gen. But Sting has already took that role from him. Would there be some jealousy? Some animosity? Who knows? What if? That's where we're going with this, people. Owen Hart and Jim Cornette make their way ringside. Owen distracts Bret and the ref while Jim tosses his racket to Lex Luger, who acts shocked for a moment, but then cracks Sting over the head with it. 1, 2, 3 quarters. Sting kicks out. Owen lands the racket over Bret's head while the ref is looking back the other direction, firmly taking Bret out of the matchup. Sting would then hit the loaded forearm on Sting before Sting could mount a comeback. 1, 2, 3, and new WWF champion, Lex Luger. Luger is going to go full-blown heel. Again, not narcissist bullshit, not all-American. He's just going to embrace who he was in WCW when he was an effective heel. Siding with the likes of Jim Cornette. Jim could have got Lex Luger great heat because Lex was a terrible interview, but he had the package, right? He was the total package for a reason. He had the look. He had it there. He could pull out a decent match with certain guys, and he could have made it work in the WWF. So Luger has now sold his soul to Jim Cornette. Sean has shown his true colors around there, and he's no longer... I apologize. Lex Luger has shown his true colors, people, and it's not red, white, and blue. Now, this was wound up just a little over Sting's first year inside of the WWF. Where do you see Sting going in 1994? He's just lost the WWF Championship, but he had an amazing, stellar run with it. I mean, let's face it, people. He went from SummerSlam to WrestleMania. He got a big loss that, most people would not have viewed as a downfall. That was a Hogan protecting loss. You could squeeze a few good months out of Luger. I think that by SummerSlam, we pivot and we put the belt on Bret. We let Bret get a little love, a little shine, so to speak, and Bret gets the title back. But in the meantime, Sting could have some really great feuds because, let's face it, at this point in time, The Undertaker is not with the company. He doesn't return until SummerSlam himself when he faces the $1 Million Man's Undertaker. That also happened, people. So there's a lot of room for opportunity for Sting. Would he regain the Intercontinental Champion? Or do we just let him do a lot of what Bret would do when he often didn't have the title? Do the chase and get there and build the sympathy with, side feuds. I mean, Jerry the King Lawler was coming aboard. Diesel was really heating up around this time. Shawn Michaels and him could have had a rubber match, so to speak. There's so many things we could have done, moving into 94. We could have got that Bret and Sting for the #1 contendership match. That would have been fun. I mean, there's a whole lot of things we could do. Drop me some comments below. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Let me know what new episodes you'd like to see me dive into in the future, people, because I do get stumped sometimes. I try to put these out every 2 weeks for you guys. A lot goes into the writing process, the editing process, trying to find pictures, because I'm going to be honest, especially with like WCW guys from the 90s, finding good quality pictures for me to be able to Photoshop in here it's a challenge, folks. It is a challenge. It's probably the bulk of what takes me so long to put these out. So I apologize when it's sometimes a little longer than bi-weekly, but just know I'm putting love and effort in it. So drop some comments below. Let me know what you think. Don't forget our Stay Weird Network family. Go like, subscribe, and share them. Like, subscribe, and share this. Is how we grow, folks. Check out Big Rob of Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No Chinese Food, as well as Chris Daly of Fueled by Weird and Fueled by Music. With that being said, though, you know where we're going with this, because at the end of the day, the card is always subject to change.